Dakar 2001, with controversy with the two-time winner Jean-Louis Schlesser being pushed, well, in a time control. And at the refueling for the motorcycle section, just look at this. Chaos for Esteve Pujol and fuel just spilling everywhere. Pujol went on to win the stage, but not after Richard Sankt had gone past him, but then went on to lose some time. This is Abdou Thiam, the single driver in Toyota number 275. He said last night he asked his mechanics to raise the ride height a little and also change the diff. But these were images this morning with still 1 hour to go before the start of today's special. The mechanics, he said, have been working all night on it, and he was just very, very concerned that maybe he went too fast, too early in this rally. Eventually, though, it fired up, and as I said, the single driver combination. Note there is no navigator sitting on the right-hand side of the car as he looks at it. All the navigation and the driving just done by one man, just as in the motorcycles. Quad Belgian rider Rick de Prez continues on. Bernard Montaz took a spill yesterday, but fortunately for him at slow speed. Bas Berger, the Dutchman, he was lucky to get away without falling. Emmanuel Luafrère continues on, as does Eric Vigarou in his Ford two-wheel drive Baja Special. Riders and drivers getting well into things, but some people having some bad luck. This is Canada's Patrick Trahan. He said, my engine broke this morning, and I said that I would get to the end, but maybe the end is here, in the middle of nowhere. And as we leave the northern and middle part of Morocco, the desert really does start. This is Laurent Bourgnon, the French sailing skipper in car number 231. He says, we're eating a great deal of dust today, and the co-driver says, we are getting through here though to the GPS point. Look at the roads as they go over one of the passes. Keep going right, he says. The co-driver a little bit more experienced on this event than Laurent, and the co-driver working wonders to get through this sand. If you stop and rev it, it's going to sink. He says we're getting through here to the GPS point, which is about 1 kilometre away, where there is a control point too. But the Dakar organisers have been very, very clever to put the point where we will find it difficult to find. A good bit of roadbook work. Today's stage down to Smara, the last full day in Morocco, a road section of just over 30 miles, that's 53 kilometres, a big special stage, 420 kilometres, the first third of which was quite rocky, and from then on it was quite quick. And then the first service where the airborne mechanics are allowed to work. This is Esteve Pujol. A new and very fast stage, but I hope there'll be no dust as there was yesterday. We are lucky with the windy conditions this morning, as it looks on the roadbook at least that it may be too difficult to overtake if it is very dusty. A lot of riders coming into the bivouac last night saying that their engines were running rich because the air filters had blocked up, and essentially the engine couldn't breathe. Well, Esteve Pujol got through the stage today in just over 4 hours and 2 minutes, and essentially he did the whole of the stage alone. Well, that was the first part at least. However, this is Richard Sankt arriving at the now not neutralised fueling points, and the guy in the red jacket just not ready for the arrival of Richard. The fuel not ready to be pumped into the motorcycles. Of course, the motorcycles have much smaller fuel tanks than the cars. And it's a disaster, says Esteban Pujol. I arrive and the guys are not prepared. And I'm wasting time. I've ridden so fast. And in the end, actually, one of the Dakar organisers from the TV crew gets stuck in, pouring the fuel in through the big funnel. Look at the wind blowing the fuel across. It's just like a 1930s refueling stop at a Grand Prix. But soon Pujol speeds out of the refueling section and on his way. Very, very angry indeed was the Spaniard. This is Frédéric Moncassin, the former Tour de France cyclist, having quite a big spill. But you'll be glad to know, ladies and gentlemen, he was up on his feet within seconds. He was okay. How do they do it? This is the top 6 on the stage today, going underneath our webcam on the side of the helicopter. And just look at how dusty the conditions are, but fortunately the wind blowing the dust away. Fabrizio Mioni, second on the stage today, only 40 seconds behind Esteban Pujol in a stage lasting over 4 hours. The Italian second overall after day 7 of Dakar 2001. Sweden's PG Lundmark running, of course, in the production motorcycle class. Not a full works machine for him, and his absolutely smooth, fine and flowing style working wonders, even though he dented an exhaust and he decided to raise the ride height for tomorrow's stage. Jordi Arcarons, he was 4th today, 1 minute and 53 back of Esteban Pujol. France's Richard Sankt, he was also rattled by the refueling problems and soon sped past number 3 KTM of Fabrizio Mioni in, well, yet another risky manoeuvre by Sankt. However, Sankt was now leading without having the 2 exhaust pipes of Mioni to follow. And in the end, Richard Sankt actually made a mistake and went wrong just before a control point, and in the end had to attack the control point from the other way. You may remember that Jean-Louis Schlesser did that the other day. Here is Juan Roma. Roma 6th today, 3rd overall. Carlos de Gavado, the winner from a couple of days ago, 7th on his KTM today, 7 minutes and 14 seconds back. Birthday boy the day before, Alfie Cox, had a terrible day today. 47th on the stage, losing 1 hour and 22 minutes. The South African hero buckled a front wheel. He waited for his teammate to come along and sacrifice a front wheel of his own, but in the end he didn't turn up, and Alfie had to struggle through the rest of the stage by botching the spokes together with pieces of string and pieces of tie wrap. A quite ingenious way to get to the finish, but he has lost time. This is Sala nearly going off the road, not only once, but twice. And this is Dupre on his BMW. And he bent a torque arm. Remember that the BMW's shaft driven. He bent a torque arm and eventually had to get the stones in to try and bend it back. Britain's John Deacon had a terrible couple of moments through the rough stuff. Went past a lot of riders but then broke down. He also passed Tiernan, who also had some engine problems. Cyril Desprez having problems on his BMW as well. America's Jimmy Lewis continued on and only lost 16 minutes today, with still a very, very sore left hand after his big crash a couple of days ago. That is the stage then. Esteve Puyol, just over 4 hours and 2 minutes to complete the section ahead of Mioni. Lundmark, what a result that is, in third. And then overall, Richard Sankt from Fabrizio Mioni, Roma, De Gavado and Esteve Puyol. Esteve Puyol, fifth on the stage today. I'm happy because the conditions were very similar to yesterday. Esteve Puyol, sorry, the winner today. It was difficult to overtake, but I was near to the leaders, and at the refueling stop, the man made a mistake and forgot to refuel me completely. My machine didn't work perfectly, and I maybe could have done even better.
Yo creo que el tema del repostaje tiene que volver a ser como los años atrás.
Unfortunately, just before the first CP, I was in the dust behind Mioni, and as I was coming to pass him, there was a big stone, and boom, I smashed the front wheel. And I thought John Brucey was close behind our mechanic rider, and he never came after half an hour. I had to fix the wheel myself, and you know, trying to come with a broken wheel, there's big risk to go at high speed, and I've had to stop and fix the wheel 2-3 times along the way, and I've lost a lot of time. And